Thank you, Noah. Thanks all the other speakers in front of us. Yeah, we're slightly getting ready now for the panel. It is already a tradition, I would call it. I think Andy Warhol said, 3 is a party. We say 3 is a tradition. It's the 3rd time that we meet here in the Argonaute conferences, and it is amazing, to be honest, to see it is getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and we're getting more and more and more. And this is not only meant from a patient perspective. I think, Noah, you mentioned it, 180 patients now worldwide. It seems to be small, but looking at where we started not long ago, this is an increasing number, and it is quite significant, the outreach that we managed to get in the last 3-4 years. 180. Now, to all our researchers, looking at the audience for this panel, where do we see our researchers and scientists? Heads up. You're quite distributed in the room. I mean, as always, I really invite you to join you, especially up there, to come a bit closer if you want to participate a bit more intimated to us. Feel free to join us a bit down here. If not, you stay where you are. So, wonderful to have you. I know it has been a long, long week for you, so amazing you have you here. Who else we have on the panel? We have about 20 to 30, I think the last number was 25 participants online. So everyone online, great to have you. We really appreciate, even though you can't be here, it is as valuable as being here, having you online. And as Noah mentioned, feel free exactly to participate and engage yourself in online. We see you and we hear you. No, we don't hear you, but we see you. You will find, to our online audience, you will find questions being posted. Also the questions that we discuss here on the panel, feel addressed and comment on it as much as you want and can. Yeah, keep it short. Kari is taking care on the questions. So whenever we see something being posted from your side, Kari will take care that it reaches us here in the room. So thanks for that. And then ultimately, fantastic panelists again. And you might wonder where and why these panelists are here and not all the other kids. We try to diversify our panel. We try to not repeat. We don't have to repeat. We are now as many patients to afford having new panelists every year. And this year, I think even you've been obviously here last year as well, part of the organization committee, but I think the 3 of you are new. Before starting with the questions, it's getting uncomfortable. Before starting with the questions to you and the introduction, just quickly a word on myself. So I'm Antje, I'm the mother of Finn. Finn is there. Finn is 10 years old. He's the little blonde boy who's chasing and hugging and giving free kisses to everyone. Dr. Lessel and Finn met now 10 years ago, nearly 10 years ago. And I think this is a very good example to mention, because this is already 10 years now, to see what power of research we can see. Because that's 10 years ago. Finn was a newborn baby, not able to do anything. He couldn't breathe, his heart didn't work, he was not able to move. And 7 days later, Dr. Lessel came in, Davor came in and met this boy and really found this case so inspiring, I would call it inspiring, to start the work on him. Yeah, it wasn't clear at all what it is. And being part of that journey from a newborn kid with a very strange phenotype, coming to here 10 years later now, seeing this boy running around, but seeing so many of you dedicated to this gene is impressive, is really, really impressive. So this is something where we really would like to thank every one of you and say, keep on working. Next to be mother of Finn, my second life, I'm leading the development of a new technology for to fight climate change. But this is R&D. And I know from that job how important it is to give purpose and focus to reach something. And I think this is the actual reason why we are here and why we're doing this panel now, is because we would like to give a little bit of purpose to your work and to your daily life in work, showing what the impact could be of what you're doing. Because at the end, what could be more impactful than improving, I think Adona said, quality of life, but also giving hope for maybe a cure one day. This is something where I personally could imagine a bigger purpose from. So thanks for being here and thanks for your continuous work to all of you. So this is good, a good start, I would say, thanks. I think the rest of the audience is known. We parents, patients, kids, and we're trying to do as best as we can to keep everyone on his seats. Getting started. We have a wonderful panel today, fantastic panel. I will not introduce you will introduce yourself. We got a couple of questions prepared, and we really try to make it relevant as much as you can. The questions you can answer, share what you want to share, what you don't want to share, you don't share. Online audience, share and comment if you want. And also, dear audience, feel free to come up with questions. We have microphones walking around. Yep. We have on the left side a very long travel mom, and maybe Valerie, I give the word just to you. And I would like to ask Valerie, share who you are, your family. Maybe try to share your journey. Where have you come from? How was your diagnosis? And what has been also the impact on your life as being mom of your son?
Hi, I'm Valerie. I'm from Canada, but the French part. Close to Quebec City, so sorry if my English is not that good, but I will try to do my best. So Malek, right there, who eating fries, is my son. Is now 11 years old. Is turning 12 in October. So he is the sweetest boy, lovely boy that I know. Malek is very happy, enjoys life and everything, but of course there is some issue and difficulty every day because the language, we don't really know what he understands, so sometimes it makes things very difficult. He walks since 4 years now. He can walk every day, but for long distance, like for here, he need to have a wheelchair. We had his diagnostic in 2021, so 4 years ago now, and for us it took 8 years to know, so it was very long. We had so much questions, fears, and it was very difficult. But because, you know, everybody asks you, hey, what's going on with your son? I don't know. So you have, let's go. You don't know what to answer to this question, so it's hard. And you don't know for the future also, so you always have a question in your mind. So when they called us and they told us that they have a diagnostic for us, it was okay. That will be a good thing because we will close a chapter and start a new one. And we had hope to find maybe a community. We knew that we will be a small bunch of people, but it was a hope for us. So now we're very happy to found people, and the community is involved to found the research to found something to help our kids. So that's very helpful.
Valerie, from looking into you just said 8 years until diagnosis.
Yeah.
Can you explain very briefly what has changed, the perspective looking at Malek before, and then you got a diagnosis, you got basically a name, this is it, but without knowing what it is.
Yeah.
But you got a name, you got a diagnosis. What has changed?
It's special because it changed not that much, because we knew that we did everything before. We can do more than what we already did. But just to say, my son have this, and we have now a community to maybe chat. There is other kids, and some are older. Oh, there is hope. Okay, I can push my fear that maybe he will die in 2 years. So it gives hopes to the future, and yeah, it's a world, but AGO1 means a lot for us. Just to say it's this, and
It's
we
not
can,
being
yeah.
not being alone with this. Yeah, I think this is something we reflect on. Mariel, over to you. We come back to you, Valerie, in a moment. Mariel, the journey you went through is not as long as Malek's journey.
No, not as long as at all. I'm Marilu, I come from Texas. Our journey with her and my daughter and AGO2, when she was born, we kind of already had information that something was kind of different with her. And we weren't sure exactly what. She was born in Regensburg, Germany, but we're from the US. And the doctors there, after 5 weeks of life, is when they told us, the chief pediatrician at St. Marian in Hamburg had told us he suspected a syndrome. He just didn't know what. Based off of everything that they found heart problems, kidney reflux. She had a 4 by 3 centimeter cyst in her ovary. Well, they didn't know it was in her ovary at the time. But he said there was too many things that were going wrong with her for him not to suspect a syndrome. And he said, it requires too many specialists for us to bring, so it's better for you to go to your home country and get treatment. And we did. We went home at 5 months of life. Actually, before that, she had a cyst removal, and is when we found out it was an ovarian cyst. And the hits kept coming every time that we were in the hospital, trying to see different doctors because she had so many things that were going on with her. And her neurologist at the time kept telling us there's something, he suspected cerebral palsy, but he's like, it doesn't hit perfectly. So he's the one that pushed us to get the genetic testing. The first report didn't come back correct, just because it was a medical exome sequencing. And so I started to push for a genome. And he sent us to a geneticist because he's like, I can't order that. You guys need to go to a geneticist. And when we were there, the geneticist was questioning why I was pushing for genome so much. And I told him because, exome didn't show anything. And he realized that the exome that we had was not the correct one. And he said, let's just do a full exome and we'll see what we're dealing with. And sure enough, March of 2023, we got our AGO2 diagnosis.
2023, that is, how old was she?
She was about to be 2.
2 years.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah,
Yes.
but the journey under 2 years is quite significant. Questions.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Lucas, you're also quite a very interesting setup, I think, and I would also like to ask you a little bit also more about your team and your own community when you share your journey.
Hello everyone, my name is Łukasz. I'm a father of Alex, happy father of Alex, his little boy over there. Little star. Um, Basically, our journey started when Alex was born 4 weeks early. He then spent 4 weeks at the NICU in UK. We're from Poland, but we live our last 15 years in UK. Since first couple of days, we sort of like a parents sort of feeling that something is not right, but just because he was prematurely born, we've been told just give him time. That kind of speak was coming back to us like a mantra from everyone, doctors, specialists, saying just give him time. He will be all right. He's been premature. After 4 weeks, he's been discharged from NICU. He was a very quiet child, slept throughout the night. Only our issue was a feeding problem. He couldn't feed properly with breasts, so at the NICU he was been fed by the probe through the nose. Since he's been moved to home with us, that consistent feeling there's something not right kick in as soon as we put him on belly time. That's like simple first thing for an infant. And Alex didn't lift his head whatsoever. He struggles. There was no even initiation of a movement. And then we start to go to our GP saying, listen up, there's something wrong. And again, same answer, give him time. By the time we've been given occupational health team to sort of be with Alex all the time, but it's only looked like that good on the paper. Unfortunately, in UK, we got a mixed feelings about the entire NHS system. Although on the paper, he's got lots of specialists in the background, there's nothing physical going on with it. So he's got physiotherapists on the paper, he's got speech and language therapist on the paper, he's got occupational therapist, and obviously pediatrician team. But just to bring you closer to where we're dealing with, physiotherapist seeing every 6 months just to see how he's progressing. He didn't spend even 1 hour exercise with Alex. So since the 4 months, we found a private physiotherapist. Luckily, she's very good with what she's doing. That's why probably Alex can sit, walk. Our earliest goal was to, he basically jumped a couple of weeks ago with both feet. So she managed him to get him motorized with his own body. He was a very floppy child. He still has problems with the balance. Feeding was always a nightmare for us. We've been blending everything from the beginning. That was the sensory issues. Sorry, I'm not too long with it. Feeding issues. Then we found out along the way that we've been discharged from the speech and language, but that was sort of connected in UK with the feeding help. We've been discharged without even notice. And then all of a sudden someone came just to see how is he doing, and oh, he's eating now. And so we don't need any help anymore. But we sort of were still waiting for any type of help to come along with. So basically, all the help what we've been given are just the websites, but random ones, not very specialized with. So following, because I'm drifting away. So then we couldn't get any sort of answers to what is going on, and everyone was just neglecting what we're saying. And so we decided to, get our savings, go to Poland. We found Professor Robert Śmigel, one of the geneticists in Wrocław, one of the best one in Poland, I guess. Then when we walked through the door, straight away he said, yes, he's got something straight away. So he opened Geeky book. He's tried give us like 2 possible ones, but he said it don't really match any types of I know, so I would suggest to do for a trio, West trio type of test. So all 3 of us done a genetic test, and in 9 months' time we received the results of AGO2. Then 4, we thought, oh my God, we know what's going on with him now. From now on, everything's going to be better. No, it's not. basically came back to UK with the results, and the doctors said, okay, we never heard about it. What the hell is it? We don't believe you. I said, what do you mean you don't believe us? So we then spent another half a year fighting with UK sort of NHS system, trying to get a proof. So they were so stubborn to the point that they sent us for the same results again, just to confirm. So until they received their own results from their own system, then they said, okay, you've got it. So a couple of months later, we received a letter from NHS saying, yes, we can confirm your child's got the AGO2. Unfortunately, it's not on official NHS books, so therefore we cannot help you with anything because we don't know what he needs. So since then, we're doing everything private, pretty much from our own pocket, and they just basically coming in every now and then, taking the cream of the success we basically working on.
Yeah, Lucas, I think
Sad story, but that's the reality, unfortunately. You would thought UK would be a better picture, but I'm sorry everyone from the UK if there is an audience, but unfortunately that's how it looks like.
I think, Lucas, this is a really interesting perspective on teams to be built around the kids. And teams are, of course, private teams and families and friends and so on. But there's also a medical team around our kids. And these medical teams, they normally really easily range from, okay, there's a home doctor, you go if there's a fever, if they broke something, if they snooze, if there's something simply wrong that needs something, you go to your home doctor. That's fine. And these home doctors normally tell us, come to us whenever you have a cold. That's it. Or if you need an injection, that's us. But anything else, don't come to us. So that's fine. Yeah. So there's a very clear come to us for this, but don't come to us with this. So then the question is for more severe, unique stuff like scissors, like really feeding stuff, we have Finn has a heart something. So where to go with this? And then there are some countries that offer very special doctors that are very specialized to an overall phenomenon of disabled kids and their special needs. So this is, at least in Germany, we have this area where we can go, and they are super overwhelmed, but they are a place to go. And then there is a third perspective on a medical care around our kids, and this is everything around how can we get this cured? Because you are here to cure the snoozing nose. You are here to cure the scissors and the non-verbality and the hard things. But who's actually here to cure the kids from the disease? And this is something which is very gray, yeah? And where we sort of believe that, I mean, don't want to push responsibility to someone, but I think that there needs a lot of research being done with the responsibility in mind. I have a purpose to create a cure and to put a place into this gap that is existing at the moment. And I think this is missing, right? And I think, Lucas, your example is very, very interesting because I think many of us have the pleasure to live in countries where there is a very good system, but UK apparently doesn't make it very easy at the moment. Okay, then we have Even. Even, you have been here from also last year, and I think your story is very interesting also because these kids, they start to grow up one day, and they will grow out of the 5 years cuteness and non-school life. And I think Even, maybe you can also share with a little bit more focus on getting a bit older, your story.
Yes, I will also. So my name is Eben. I'm the mother of Jacob, and we're from Denmark. So each of us here, and what the parent community does for us is that we're not alone, because whenever we meet the specialists and stuff, they're all, we really want to help you, but we don't know enough. And that's also my plea to you guys, that we'll talk together about and trying to find similarities between our kids as best we can, but you guys have a totally different approach where you're able to kind of holistically or overall actually see some connections that we're missing. I've had the privilege of being Jacob's mom for 13 years. I feel really, really lucky that we are in Denmark and that our process has been actually a bit of the opposite. Not to say it hasn't been a struggle, but it's been a struggle around different things. Because when we first started noticing what was wrong with Jacob and stuff, what really opened the door for us was that he was born almost blind. And that was something they could measure. They could measure his sight, and that kind of opened the door into the special needs thing. And then we have just been really lucky, always being met with professionals who are like, oh, well, maybe this will help you. And they have even sometimes been the one writing the applications for us. So for me, that has been, especially hearing you guys' stories, I'm so privileged that I've been primarily able to focus on being a mom, with all that entails, especially for a kid like Jacob. But I haven't needed to become a lawyer or a scientific person or whatever. So also when you guys are talking, a lot of the stuff, even though I'm pretty smart within my own field, but a lot of the stuff just doesn't make sense. It's fascinating, but what I'm really like, okay, so, but how does this apply to me? How does this apply to what I should be aware of as to best help my kid? And the last thing about growing up with Jacob, and I'll come to him now, is that it's been always a relief that he has been very easy to read, so that we've never been in doubt what his needs are. And as you were saying, so we knew that we did the best we could, and whatever the reason was, a diagnosis or otherwise, we could do nothing better for him than what we were currently doing. And that is just, it just liberates you from a lot of guilt and blame and self-blame. So I really hope for everyone here, and that's also why I know that a lot of you scientists are stressing that it's mainly de novo, you did nothing wrong, you could not have done anything different. And in going forward, we're laying the tracks as we're riding the train, and every one of us is trying to do whatever best we can. So, Jacob is now 13. He was here last year. He is not here this year, and it has to do with a variety of reasons. He assaulted everyone with hugs last year. And he's charming and sweet and likable. But imagine now that he's my height, and he's strong, and he weighs 55 kilos. So one of my thoughts of him not going was just the image of having to, physically get him off Victor, for example. So as you were saying, Angie, there's, for me, he's my little kid, and I love him, and I find him adorable, and I see him through this motherly filter. And for people who don't know him, well, it's obvious something's going on, but it's an intrusion, and it's crossing boundaries, and so it's at some point, now he's 13, it stops being cute, and it stops being likable, and that's one of the things we're struggling with.
But once you know
But
once you know him, it's really welcome.
Yeah.
We're upset he's not here.
Yes, but like with him not being here, I'm also able to talk with other families and focus on that, because Jacob is good in motor skills. He can run really fast, I'm telling you guys. So you guys have seen, like, now they're sitting really nicely, but when they're up and about, focus is always divided. The stress level as a parent is really, really high. We have he's not potty trained, so, when he starts to smell, okay, we need to go to get this sorted. And it was easy when he was, yesterday I carried Finn, and this is easy, I can do this. But Jacob, 55 kilos, doing the floppy thing where they're impossible to pick up, it just becomes a real struggle. Um, and yeah, so our journey now, also, one of the reasons he's not here is that we're in the process of him living at a special needs care facility. So he's right now being introduced to a lot of new people, a new life, away from us. And again, with the self-blame, and this is not the way it's supposed to be. This is exactly the way that it's supposed to be. It's good for Jacob, it's hard for us. But it is also a necessity because he has an older brother who has, in hindsight, we can see now, with all the struggling and all the focus on Jacob's needs, he has been paying the price. And it's a hard lesson to stand and then think, okay, we should actually have done this 2 years ago, because his big brother is now, he's 16, and in 2 years, he's out of there. So if we need to build a foundation for him as well, we need to be able to have that focus and also see him as an individual with individual needs and not as, okay, so now Jacob is occupied with the iPad. You have my undivided attention, and then Jacob throws the iPad or needs the diaper changed, and so sorry, I'll be back in a minute, and then it takes forever. So that's also a thing. Yeah.
Yeah, even I think thank you for sharing this, because I think in all these discussions, what we sometimes try, and because I'm looking also to Katarina, to your daughter, it is something a bit misleading that we are always coming up with little cute kids, and this is very often the case when it comes to talking about disabilities with kids. Normally what we see is a very cute, a very smart little kid in a wheelchair that cannot work, but is super smart and will be able to save the world. This is normally the thing that we see from disabled kids. The reality is actually much more different. The reality is that we are not looking at mental disabilities a lot, that mental disabilities is something that society do not want to see, and also society do not want to see disabled kids growing up, because exactly what you say, and this is my biggest fear with Finn being 10 now, what do we do with him when he's 15? Yeah, what do we do when he's 18? And no one will hug him anymore. So maybe we find, Victor, more people like you, but this is a big threat, and this is going to be out of reach and out of sight of people very soon. So that's why it is very important to talk about it early and also acknowledge that there is more required than just parents. Yeah, that we need a village around our kids, and that this is not only our responsibility, it's a shared responsibility of society and friends, family,
And also just this one last thing, nobody parents wrong in this. Everyone does the best they can, and we each are experts on our own kids, and we each know what their needs are. So just, if no one else is doing it, remember to pat your own back, because we're doing awesome. So yeah.
Okay.
Hello, I'm medical geneticist, so I have many families and clinical practice. And in Slovakia, I have experienced that they really struggle when you have a child with intellectual disability who is able to walk and so on. So for social insecurity and so on, it's very difficult to get support, because from their point of view, it's not a disabled child. Like, even though the girl is not able to go to toilet herself, and she need support for feeding and everything, and of course you cannot leave her alone. But for parents, it's very difficult to get some, that they can stay at home and take care of her and so on. Sometimes even with genetic diagnosis, although genetic diagnosis helps a lot. But it's really surprising that people have to really struggle with all this administration. The same thing is about adults. And we have even like tragedies because like it happens that the parent has also some kind of intellectual impairment. And like in the child it's sometimes more severe. And when the child stays in biological family, so we have also some tragical cases. So it's like something that should be systematically like these families should be supported like automatically. They should not like struggle for support because they are already like all the day like you know running like taking care about the child. And sometimes we have families with more than one child, so it's like system is not helping almost like at all, I would say, because for them intellectual disability or like autism, with autism it's a little bit better, I think, but intellectual disability itself, it's like it doesn't, it's not a problem. Like why do you ask us for some help?
I would say it is a problem, but it doesn't have a lobby. It doesn't have a tangible visibility. Autism now is getting acknowledged. There's a lot of data about autism. There's now starting to say, okay, yes, it is something that needs to be treated. But the best that can happen, and this is a very sad statement, the best that can happen to a family of a AGO1 or 2 child is that this child shows not only mental but also physically impairments very early, because that triggers the system. And that was the same with us. So I'm not sure if this is everywhere the case, but the more severe the physical disabilities are, the more treatment kicks in. Well, I would like to put some facts into the room. Now we heard a lot of emotional statements. Thank you for this. There is, thanks to Olga, and I'm just having just a screenshot of your findings. Just giving you some numbers, 80% of all our kids have skill development delays. 80%. So we can say nearly everyone has mental development delays. 80% also carry muscular hypotonia. So they're really struggling in walking, standing up, taking stairs, crawling. This is very 80%. Speech delay, 80%. And from this 80% delayed speech, we have 40% of our kids that do not talk at all, non-verbal. 77% carry autistic features, which go along with the mental disabilities. And we have 50% with seizures. This is the facts on the table, and there's much more than this to be dealt with. I would like to turn it now into a more positive, give it a more positive turn. We are all acknowledged that there is a lot of challenges in our way, and the impact on our lives and the lives of a parent are significant, I would say. Everyone will commit. Nevertheless, we are humans and we are working and starting to learn as the kids are growing up. Now, what I would like to hear is looking in resources, looking in teams, in resources that you get. What would you say are the biggest and strongest support mechanisms that you found on your way? What was really helpful?
At the moment, the more supportive things for us is to have maison, like every house that Malek can go like for a few hours the weekend. So we have time for us, for the couple, but also the kids, because we have 4 kids at home. So that's what she said. It's very hard to manage this, to have time for everyone. Good time, quality time with the other kids. Because I think every day I say to my little girl, Mommy, she's not an octopus. You have to wait, I'm sorry. So only 2 years and a half ago, we decided to put Malek for few hours, and after that a day and a weekend and a night. So it really helped us to have a little break, and we know that people are specialized, and if he have a seizure, they will take care of him. So it's a security for us to have a place like this, and it's really help us
Time out.
at home. Yeah, time off.
Time off.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mhm. Same for you.
I would say the biggest help would be, first of all, my family. My mom primarily is the one that steps in whenever I need to step out, because I do have 2 other kids as well. She's the biggest help. You know, I got to go to the school for the kids or anything like that. I'm able to leave Alina with my mother. After that, once she went into the school system at 3 years of age, that was probably, it was uneasy at first, because mom's used to doing everything 24/7, being, you know, the nurse, the doctor, the therapist, everything, and having to let go and let someone else was difficult. But right away I realized that it was something that was more beneficial to her, because she didn't like being around other children at first. So going to school actually helped her be kinder to other children. Not saying that was completely kind, because she would run over kids with her K-walker or yank them down. But it was nice to know that she started to learn how to behave, I guess, in a sense. So having the school system has been a big help to give her that freedom and individuality.
Yeah. So also sharing responsibility, sharing being in charge.
Yes, yes.
And having friends. Having friends too, because we have other kids, but you don't have the same interests of him. One is older, the little one, she's younger. So at school, he can have sociability, and they don't have the same syndrome, but they all have the same interest, and it's good for him just to have a sociability.
Yeah. Lucas, your biggest resources you found.
Yes, I don't want to be a prince of darkness in here. I think my wife and I are the only support that we got at the moment, because we live far from our families, and we got a few little of friends in UK. We sort of being with it ourselves. We are on a thread, but still hold in. Alex starting school from next week, because in the UK it's ridiculously early. So in my opinion, it should be like in everywhere. He still should be in a kindergarten or somewhere else that he can play up to like age of 6 at least. But in UK they decided they put him in a school from 4. So he will start that. Hopefully we'll get more time for ourselves in between, but we both are fully working parents. At the moment our life looks like go and work, pick him up halfway through a day for the physio, 2-3 hours, then before work or after work. So we're patching up our life the best as we can for Alex. And he's our main sort of center of the universe for us. As support, on early days we had from NHS sort of like a feeding chair that they borrow us for feeding. That was pretty much only support. Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry,
Lucas.
it's grim, but
I think we seriously need to address the UK.
yeah, we do have a friend of sort of like you mentioned, friends of the child with the Down syndrome. That's the only sort of like experience of the having sorry for saying non-normal child experience, but yeah, that way we can sort of like flush out our system a little bit, exchange the experience and opinions about that's pretty much how it is.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Can I just say that it's good to know that you have each other, because sometimes in a couple it could be hard. So if you,
imagine you could destroy the couples.
Yeah.
I honestly can see that. But
Yeah.
yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if those kind of things will make an impact on the personal life of the couples itself, because for us it was Alex was very much expected child. He was beloved from the very first second we found out Viola is in pregnancy. And that was like a bombshell to our life to have the results that we've got. That didn't change the love, but it's different type of love. That, sorry, I'm very emotional. Promise myself not going to cry, but it's like, I am like that. I'm a soft guy. So I'm feeling a little bit like robbed from all the milestones I could see in a healthy child to see. And I was never expected to see that. Obviously, you're building as a person, as a parent, you're building the picture of your child before he's going to be born. And it's different to whatever your canvas was. And all of a sudden it's changed, and you need to start painting all over. So, yeah, so.
Lucas, I was sitting here 3 years ago. Saying exactly this, and I was crying on stage. So I think this is something which is very true for everyone. To the couple point, just a little anecdote from the hospital. Finn was, I think, 3 days old, and they did an MRT on his brain, and we found out that the corpus callosum is interrupted, is not closed, and then they immediately send us to a psychotherapist from the hospital, sit down with her and get whatever saved from whatever. And she told us, hey, the first thing you need to do, you need to take care on yourself, because 80% of all parents of disabled kids get divorced. And that was quite shocking. Yeah, and I think this reflection on family and taking care on each other, and be it you are in charge, I take my time off and go drinking with my friends, and next day I'm in charge and you go drinking with your friends, is something that everyone needs to learn. But it also means saying a little bit of goodbye to the fun world of a bloomy world of a complete family.
Yes, and also the task of having these kids, sometimes we're not the best versions of ourselves, so we need to forgive our partners and also ourselves. So resource-wise, it's been different in different periods of time with Jacob. If I'm saying right now, it's the realization that the work me and my husband has been doing for the last 13 years, it now takes 12 professional people to keep up a daily life for Jacob at the new institution where he's moving. No wonder we're exhausted. So we had some counseling, and the lady there was, so, well, if Jacob was a normal kid, how many teams of parents would it take for it to feel normal? And we're like, 6, maybe 8. And now it turns out, no, it takes 2 adults at a time during the day and 1 adult awake in the night. And just, the whole sleeping thing in the nights, there's a reason they use that for torture. There's a reason that all parents get frustrated. But at 3 in the morning, when Jacob is awake and refusing to sleep, I am not the best version of myself. And just, realizing that, and it draws on the resources and the times where we've been struggling. We've been, like all marriages, but when we're really, really struggling, one thing that's a red flag for us is when we start to keep count on whose turn it is or who does what, because that means that we're running out of resources, and we start blaming each other, and that's really a trap that you need to be aware of.
Okay. Yeah. It's thanks for sharing this. To come back a little bit to the root of where we're going, we also want to try to make it relevant for. I think it's important to show emotions, but it's also important to see, okay, what can you do? I mean, we don't want to put all the emotions here on the table and then off we go. I think. I think what is also important to reflect on this road of walking this path, identifying very carefully what are the gaps, so what are the resources and what are the challenges. I think this is very, very obvious, but then also reflecting what would actually really help me, because only if we start identifying the things that are missing, we can put them on the table and address it. And I think this is something that I would like also discuss with you. If you see on the road something where you say, it would be super cool if we would have had this or have it today, and because then we can say maybe we can put it in place. Yeah. So a gap. For me, I can start a gap very, very obviously is I would like to have someone taking care on Finn sometimes, because I would like to do something else from time to time in order to come back to myself that I was before he was there. Yeah, so this is something that I'm personally missing at the moment. A gap would be also for me is a clear route. Okay, are we ever coming out of this? Or a clear route, how will Finn live in the future, and have a clear picture of this. I don't have this picture at the moment. Yeah, do you see any gaps where I mean, Lukas, I'm sure you have a lot of gaps where you say, I need this, this, and this, and it would really help me tomorrow.
The gaps, definitely. Thank you again for all the hard work you're doing so far. Every little bit, it really counts, especially towards, I think, from perspective of the parent. If we could translate some of your work to the more plain language, so then we can share them with our GPs or specialists, occupational therapists, just to try them from A to Z, explain a little bit easier what is actually going on with our child. That would definitely benefit. And having our Facebook group, that was a miracle for us, I guess. That was the biggest sort of compound of knowledge we could ever imagine to find. Going forward, definitely something needs to change in terms, especially for our country, in terms of acknowledging kids with special needs, because at the moment the entire system is just destroyed. I mean, it's not functional system. You wait so long for everything, and not necessarily that's how it should be, obviously. But your work really counts. Just having your in the back of our head makes us a little bit more, I would say, promising for a cure, because I'm not stupid. I do expect that Alex is probably too old, even being for any type of cure. But allowing in any way to get rid of some of the struggles or problems that we come across now for the future parents, that will be definitely the benefit for your work. So don't think about now, just think about future. It's still going to be okay, you know. It's not a race. I mean, little step always counts, as long as we go in the right direction, I guess. So thank you for everything you do.
Thank you, Lukas. And also for I would like to give a word to you, to our scientists and researchers. I mean, you got now a lot of emotions dumped on you. Don't take it personal. I think it's important to have places to leave it. Have you identified, maybe from your own work, from your perspective, things that you say would help to have from the patients groups? that would make your life easier, or any expectations on this group of people that would make your life or your work moving forward better?
Sorry, just me, I wanted to say that you are doing everything. So you are really always supportive, always providing, always writing emails to send information and to propose sales, fibroblast and everything. So I don't know, you can do more. I don't know, maybe the other people will say, but you are participating to the questionnaire and everything. So thanks a lot for that. You are doing a really good job.
Yeah, I would worry less about us. You know, I go to conferences at least 6 times a year, and I always look forward to this one because it's the only one that has deeper meaning. Just the general tenor of the competition of science is lower because there's a goal for us. And I'm very grateful to you guys.
Thank you very much. So I note down, okay.
So I know Devor has said like that, you know, it is very traumatic for the parents to even fill out the natural history form. And if we could get more information about the symptoms, you know, I know it's hard to ask somebody to make that leap, but if you can do that and also, you know, contribute skin biopsies so that we have cell lines to work on. And I just want to say that what I notice here in this audience is that all the families help take care of all the kids. They're all running around, and I just want you to say that I hope you can also feel that kind of trust with the scientists, so that we're not judging you, we're not judging your kids. We are really bonded. I mean, having met Jacob last year, I know he's not as cute, but you know, it has just been so wonderful, and the trust that the parents have put in the scientists is amazing, because it's all your lives and your kids and your suffering, you know, and you're putting your trust in us. So thank you very much. If I haven't seen us, I have Nobel Gold chocolate coins for each family. So if you haven't received one from me, you know, just approach me later, and so.
It was very interesting to see the map of the world and see where all the cases have been identified. And, you know, and obviously there's huge populations of the world where there's nothing reported yet for these syndromes, but they're all there, right? Because these are spontaneous mutations. And so I'm wondering what, you know, I'm just curious about how we can broaden this network somehow and reach out, you know, that we as scientists are, you know, we have the privilege to be, you know, we go to things all around the world. It's a very international thing. And it just occurs to me, I think, like, who would be the people, right? Maybe, you know, Amelie could speak to this. Like, who would be the clinician geneticist, say, in Korea or China or Japan, you know, or India, and Brazil, you know, that would be the one to contact, because the data is probably there. I mean, to the extent that they do exon sequencing in all these places, but you know, I don't know.
I think that, so it seems like the geneticists are kind of like the gatekeepers of bringing us all together. And we as families, we're not introduced to them until we're really far along in our struggles and trying to find clues and stuff. So I think for the science community would be to maybe reach out to, there's probably some national centers of special diseases, and kind of broaden that there. And then if we as parents also try to go to a national bottom up and top down, that may be just what's needed for the easier access to the geneticists, I would imagine. And then I want to add that I am really, really grateful for you guys. I was last year in Copenhagen, experiencing this many intelligent, smart people working to solve problems for us was humbling, and I'm so grateful. And this year I've been trying to help also organize a little bit for the parents with Kari and Jess and Aldona and Nora and everyone. And if you want to ask how you can help us, just inviting us and making room for us at your conference and making it okay that our kids are loud and messy and here. And just Peter did an awesome job making it welcoming to come with kids, both with the room, but he also sent out like a handbook for us, what to do with kids while in Prague. And also we've been lucky with funding, but I also know some of the people working with this, they've been working pro bono and trying to get funding and stuff for people here, and that is going to be moving forward, reaching out to even more, because don't be fooled, the ones that are here, we're the resourceful ones. So if we want to get in contact with the other ones, we need to really make it easy to be part of this. So, but thank you.
Unless I missed it, you didn't send us the GoFundMe link.
I sent it to Peter. So
It's still open, isn't it?
It's never too late.
our websites do take donations, though, all year round. I just want to say a quick thing, what you were saying about the genetic reports, because you're right, my son Koei is not clearly disabled when you first see him. And when I was fighting for him, all of his doctors were like, you're crazy, you're a mom who's just like super anxious. And, but I knew that something was different. And we got our diagnosis almost immediately. He was diagnosed autistic after I pushed for that evaluation for a long time. And then for our health insurance, they just naturally, when your kid's diagnosed autistic, they give you a genetic panel just that's just what they do. He was negative for all those, and I was like, I still think. So they gave us an extra one, 3,000 genes that are associated with developmental disorders. And that's when it popped up. It was so easy for me, but the only reason why was because I pushed and I said, like, I want the report, I want the part. I have friends that their kids just got diagnosed autistic, but they're like, I'm not gonna get any, It should just be like the next time your kid has to do blood work, just send it in. Just because I think that there are so many more cases, but nobody is just doing that extra step, and the doctors are not taking the extra step to be like, just get this test, just get this one, So I don't know. That's something that I think that could be worked upon.
Fine. Kari, do we have any comments, major comments from the audience? Because I think it's time. Davor and I think Emily, we're getting ready.
We have just a couple questions. Jessica would like to know for other families. Her daughter has a G tube and might need a colostomy bag. And her question is, does anyone else have that problem? Anybody here?
Which one?
Evelyn has a G tube, but doesn't a colostomy bag. That's bowel movement, right? Is it on? Hello? Well, Evelyn has a G tube. She just got it a month and a half ago, but she got it because she wasn't gaining weight. She wasn't growing, getting tall. She stayed at 22 pounds from about a year and a half until 3.5. But no, she does not need a colostomy bag. They give her Miralax to help her. Yeah, they give her Miralax to help her relieve herself because she does struggle, because she doesn't eat solids or anything else other than Pediasure. So that could help if they want to try that before they do the colostomy bag, I guess is from what I would say from my experience, because it has relieved Evelyn from a lot of issues. I guess if that helps.
Thank you. Koi, any general questions from general interest?
Okay, an anonymous one. when do you expect we will be able to benefit from treatment? What supplements, therapies do you recommend? This is probably a case-by-case scenario because every kid needs different therapies, but so I'm not sure if this is a question about like an overall treatment. No, that's all I have. Oh, through Slido or through Zoom?
And I think all the questions in regards to treatment and roadmap and so on is maybe best placed to our next session. Shall I just? Yeah, exactly. So I can imagine that there's tons of questions on, okay, what's next and how do we proceed now? I would say thank you very much to this fantastic panel. Big applause. I think we're looking much forward to, in 2 years, to come up with a new version of it. Cheers.